What up, YouTube? Welcome to Art of Sampling from the Soul. Now, what you're about to see next is the key to making dope beats, dope hip-hop, period. And today we're covering chopping. Let's get into it. You got it. Principles, baby. Principles. So, how does the dictionary break this down? A fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of beliefs or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. There's a sub-definition as well. So, that is a general scientific theorem of law that has numerous special applications across a wide field. So, how would I define that in hip-hop terms? There's rules to this shit. That's all that means. There's rules to this shit. And once you master those rules and you understand those rules, now the world is your oyster. So, we're about to get into it, baby. Bam! Alright, I know what a lot of y'all are waiting for. I know what a lot of y'all are wanting me to get to directly. And that's what we're getting into. I should mainly be talking about how to sample, but I don't think I need to cover that as much. But as we know, that sampling is just basically taking a piece of music or a sound or something like that, recording it, and then manipulating it inside a DAW or machine or whatever to make it our own. Alright, so you saw the message. Simplicity is about subtracting the obvious and adding the meaningful. What does that mean? Pretty much what that means is going away from the obvious, meaning like looping, or taking an obvious track that everybody knows, but bringing out what's more meaningful to you. Great examples of this: Lord Finesse, Pete Rock, DJ Premier, Dilla, of course, Knots, Kanye, Just Blaze. All these guys have done it in some way, shape, or form. I'll show you an example in this next clip being explained by the dude from Who Sampled, kind of breaking down a Lord Finesse sample. Check it out.
Play you one example that kind of, I think, encapsulates it pretty well, which is a track by Lord Finesse. It's from around 95, and that sounds like this. And one of the reasons I chose that as an example is I think it demonstrates quite well this idea of not just looking at loops. Up until this point, we'd had people sampling loops from jazz funk records, and before that, loops from funk records, and so on. And for the most part, people were kind of taking whole 2 or 4 bar chunks and looking for stuff that sounded a little bit like instrumental hip-hop. But the record that he sampled here really doesn't, and I'm going to play it for you now. It's by Oscar Peterson. And I think what's interesting about that is it kind of takes a bit of, you know, it seems fairly obvious looking at things now, but at the time takes a bit of a kind of mental leap to imagine how that might sound like a hip-hop record. So he's taken drums from this record, Detroit Emeralds, and then what he's done is selected a couple of small fragments out of the Oscar Peterson record. So first of all this, and then this. And when you add them to the drums, it starts to sound like what you heard on the original record. And then there's a few other elements in there as well. There's just very low down in the mix, there's some sleigh bells, which was a popular thing used quite heavily in mid-90s hip-hop. Usually taken from one of a couple of records. One of them is Average White Band, the other one is actually a Christmas record. So you have the sleigh bells, and then there's also a little James Brown kind of grunt or scream in there. So then when you put all those elements together, plus there's some horn stabs and some other little bits of layering in there, but
I'm hip to the game. Always be the same. 'Cause when I'm broke, I got fame, sunshine, rain.
so for me that's kind of like the leap from just loops to production. And what he's essentially done there is put together a band. You know, he's got Oscar Peterson playing his melody. He's got the drummer from the Detroit Emeralds playing his drums. He's got whoever played the sleigh bells in Millie and Silly playing his sleigh bells. He's got James Brown doing some ad-libs. He's got his own vocals on there. And at this point, like a hip-hop producer is more like what a producer in a band would be like. You know, a producer in a band would be like, okay, you play drums like this and you play the bass like this. A hip-hop producer in this context is really doing the same thing, but he's got at his fingertips the best musicians from this band and from this band and this jazz guy and this funk guy, and he's kind of putting it all together in a way that really is more production than it is just loops and beat making. So at this point, it's kind of really taken a departure from the DJing genesis, and it's become something entirely new.
That was pretty amazing, right? Even for that time period, that was pretty amazing. And that goes back to the intro, principles. There's rules to this shit. Once you know how to do a perfect loop, and once you understand music, and you listen to music, and you understand arrangement, it allows you to do things in time and arrange things in a way that gives a sample a whole new meaning, a whole new feeling, a whole new vibe all together. And you're able to connect those dots and make it all work. So, very, very, very important. So if you haven't got your loop game down pat, you're making your chop game suffer. I'm gonna say this again. If you don't have your loop game down pat, you're making your chop game suffer. Now, there are other techniques of chopping that I'm gonna get into next week. And one of the people that do that the best, in my opinion, is Knots. And that's taking little fragments and just bringing all these pieces together. But today, we're going to just talk about chopping. I'm going to show you some simple chopping techniques and how it arranges into making a simple beat. All right? So, let's get on to the example. All right. To save time, I just wanted to get into the meat and potatoes of it all. Right now, what I'm using right here is Audacity. I'm using this because this is a simple software, free, that you can get for Mac or PC that you can utilize to edit, chop, and do some cool thing with samples. That's especially if you don't own a particular DAW. Now, if you have Fruity Loops, if you have Logic, MPC, Machine, all these DAWs and hardwares and programs have ways for you to chop up samples. I'm doing it on Audacity. The concept is pretty much the same. You're looking at the WAV files and you're chopping samples. I'm not being an ass. I'm just saying. All right. But what you're gonna see as I go through this, I'm breaking down the basic idea or the principle of chopping a sample. So first of all, the first thing I would want to do is get a perfect loop. So key is starting on a 1, and this is the 1 right here. You hear that little intro beat, doom, but then it goes into the 1, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from here, and I'm gonna isolate what I think my perfect loop would be. And the cool thing is you can zoom in to get a little closer to your WAV file, so you know that you're right perfect. So now when I hit play, it's gonna start from the 1. That's enough right here. So this, all the way back to my original. Let's zoom in, make sure I got it right. And the cool thing about this is you can zoom in and make sure you're really, really on top of your waves. So you see right here, I got this lined up perfectly. So now we're going to continue to drag all the way up to the original one. Oh, okay, cool. Now, this should be this right here. All right, got a little clip there. I'm going to zoom in. And when you do this enough, you'll know what to listen for and what to check out for. So let's come back a little bit and see where I'm at. I think I'm good here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cut tool, cut this out, take this away, then I'm going to hit paste, and it's going to add me a new track. Right? Now this is what I call my perfect loop, so to speak. Well, actually. So let's zoom in. Now, how do I know it's a perfect loop or decent enough? It's highlighted right now, right? So what I can do is I can come here, highlight this area right behind here. That's what I'm doing, highlighting this area right behind it. Now, I'm going to go to my effects. I'm going to go to repeat. And instead of 10 times, I'm just going to repeat it once. Hit OK. There we go. It added it. So check this out. I'm going to start from middle of the sample, so we're going to have to listen to the whole thing. This is our part. Right here. So it all flows together. Now, I know y'all, a lot of people saying, okay, Dave, you ain't chop shit. That's still a loop. But I'm just showing you the repeat feature. All right, so let's undo that. Bam. So, and we're going to focus on this one right here. So, in my machine, I would chop it right around here. Right? Sound like this. Let's zoom in to make sure it's perfect. Perfect enough. Now, I can make the sound different. This is chopping. So I'm going to take this first piece and repeat it, one more time. So I'm going to go to effect. I'm going to hit repeat. So, now listen to it. So, sound like a seamless flow. And that's done because of timing. So if I wanted to do something strange, like let's start from here. This, maybe I want this to double up. Alright, so let's hit it again. So, say I want the head snare to hit twice. Smack, smack. Right? This is the time here. So, I want to take this snare, and before it hits this hi-hat, which acts like a ghost snare, I can in turn go here and effect, clack, clack, hit repeat once. So now let's listen to it. Right? So now that clack clack after the double hit, I don't want that space. So pretty much I need to take this out, right? Because I want to come straight to here. So like again, everything is timing because you can see how the timing was off. But if I take this piece out, just cut that piece out. Now listen to it. See? So essentially, you can come in Audacity, chop up your samples, and make your stuff sound like a musical loop. Now, this sounds musical. It almost sounds like it was made that way. So let's listen to it one more time. And again, taking out the obvious, right, and focusing on the meaningful. Let's listen to some more elements in here. Chopping is just about taking elements that you like or the things that are important to you and using them. All right, so we're gonna mute this one. I'm gonna come up to the other track. I took another portion of it. Listen to this. That's how I wanted to take this piece. Okay. Get my timing on, so watch me count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. So let's repeat that. We're gonna make it 1 because I only wanted to do 2 times, so I'll just add 1 more repeat to it. Bam. And here we go. Let's see how it looks. How it sounds. Alright, now let's go back to our first example where I had the double clap. We're gonna mute this. I'll mute this one. Go to the beginning of the track and alright. Alright, so that's where I want to go with it, right? I'm gonna mute this one again. I'll mute this one. I think I doubled up on it. Let's bring it in tight. I'm only gonna take the 1. So now I'm gonna cut this. Mute that. I'll mute this one. Go back to the beginning, listen to it again. Alright, this is where I want to come in. Bam. Zoom in, make sure I'm tight. I could be a little off. Good enough. Hit stop. Now I'm going to paste in there. Bam. So, now let's listen to what I just did. So, by everything being on time, me inserting that piece made everything flow like it was made that way. So I took the piece, the piece with the other instrument in it, the other guitar sound in it, inserted it in, and then it went back to my original. So let's listen to this. So we're going to zoom in and play again. Alright. So now I'm going to zoom in. Bop, bop, bop. Go on, Dave. Here's my double clap right here. And I'm just going to isolate the part that I punched in. I believe this is it. Let's listen. Then it goes back to the original piece I had. This is the gist of it. So when you chop good, your pieces will sound like they were arranged that way originally. So when you listen to this track, now that's the basics. Now you're starting to see how the importance of loops and knowing the timing of loops will affect how your chops sound. You know, especially when you want to take something that's musical and arrange it in a way where it sounds like it was made that way. That's the best type of chopping you can do. And when people can't decipher that, wow, this is a chop. And the crazy part is, you can actually take elements from other songs, if they're in the same key, add them in and make some magical stuff. So next week, I'm going to get intricate. I'm going to show you what can be done. All right, I'm debating whether I'm going to break it all down, but I'm going to make something intricate and show you how it was done, and how having stuff in the same key, which we'll cover later, but just to give you an idea how effective you can be in chopping and how to think outside the box. If you have any questions about Audacity, or you need me to go over Audacity a little bit more, leave some messages in the comments, or leave some comments below, and then I'll listen to them, and if I can do quick videos to kind of answer those questions, I'll do so. All right, peace. Thanks for watching. I'm out.